The Olympic Games is the biggest sporting competition athletes prepare for during their careers. But if you've chosen the wrong sport, you can't compete. Although it does showcase a vast number of sporting events, there are a lot of sports that deserve more attention and meet criteria for inclusion within the Games. Here are the top 10 sports that should be in the Olympics. Number 10. Horse racing. There are equestrian disciplines in the Olympics and have been in the event since 1912, which includes dressage, eventing, jumping, and modern pentathlon. Obviously, horse racing was snubbed, and the fact it's more well-known than the other four makes its non-inclusion all the more curious. If the IOC is okay with horses, and there are several racing sports already, why not combine the two concepts, right? There's an international federation pertaining to horse racing, which is the IFHA. It has over 60 member nations from around the world, which each have at least one organization that advocate the sport. There have been racetracks used for Olympic equine events, so venues shouldn't be an issue. Horse racing competitions like the Dubai World Cup, Breeders' Cup World Championships, and the Arc in Paris continue to draw in interest from audiences. Do we need more reasons for inclusion? Number 9. Downhill ice skating. Combine ice skating, narrow tracks, dangerous stunts, and an insatiable need for speed. What do you get? That would be downhill ice skating, and it certainly is Olympics worthy. Like the term implies, it's ice skating coupled with racing on a downhill narrow track. The exhilarating part about the sport is that there are steep turns, unbelievable jumps, and high vertical drops that would certainly pump adrenaline both within racers themselves and spectators. Red Bull manages a winter extreme sport event named Crashed Ice, and it commands attention. This sport has a men's and women's division, welcomes participants from different countries, and fans so much interest that it started airing on Fox Sports after seeing increased viewership in 2015. Downhill skiing and speed skating are some of the most viewed Olympic sports, so just imagine the appeal of a more extreme winter sport like downhill ice skating. Number 8. Skateboarding and surfing. Extreme sports like snowboarding are already in the Winter Olympics. It's high time its summer counterpart joins in, and that's skateboarding. Skateboarding is a widely popular extreme sport, so much that a global governing body, the International Skateboarding Federation, oversees it. The said organization has over 70 participating countries and will most likely grow in bounds once it takes the Olympic stage. That's not impossible at all, given the fact that over 30 million people worldwide skate every day, regardless of gender. The ISF has submitted its application to the IOC several times, showing they're convinced the sport deserves a spot. Good thing the IOC listened, because skateboarding will be included in the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. After that, shouldn't surfing be next? It has almost the same principle of balance and skill as skateboarding, and the IOC could use a man-made wave system for controlled variables and fair judging. Sailing is already an Olympic sport, so they should really give an extreme water sport like surfing a shot. Number 7. Squash. Badminton and tennis are both Olympic sports already, so shouldn't squash be in the lineup too? If anything, squash is probably more popular than the aforementioned games. Over 20 million squash players participate regularly worldwide in over 185 countries. Great players hail from different locations, such as England, Egypt, and Malaysia, showing its global presence. The sport is governed by the World Squash Federation, which has more than 100 member countries and is recognized by the IOC. Despite having recognition from the committee, it won't be seen at Tokyo in 2020, and the fact that this is the third time that it struck out is just sad. If anything, squash is a rather exciting sport. With all walls practically part of the game, it's a modern gladiatorial pit that so deserves a spot. Unlike rackets, which was discontinued after the 1908 Olympics, squash has a rather large following. Number 6. Cricket. Cricket may be England's national sport, but it has expanded its influence to other territories such as Australia, India, Pakistan, and many more. That's just one of the many reasons it's fitting for the Olympic stage. In terms of popularity, cricket is only second to football, which can be attributed not only to its wide viewing public, but also the variety of format. It's regulated by the International Cricket Council, which boasts more than 100 member countries around the globe. The good news is that cricket may be on the verge of inclusion, the earliest year being 2024. This is after the success of the Women's World Cup showed the sport's potential for an Olympic spot. Now the approval of India will complete a strong bid that will enable the ICC to file an application to the IOC. The biggest problem that the sport might face when it gets included is the length of time it's played. The shortest version takes at least 3.5 hours. If it does make it to the event, it will be interesting how they adjust. Number 5. Tug of War. You may not take this sport seriously, but hear me out. Did you know that it was actually an Olympic sport before? That's right. It was part of the Games in 1900 and survived until the 1920 events. During that time, 8 people in each team had to pull their opponents around 6 feet to win. It's a well-known sport, so shouldn't it come back to the Olympic stage? Some of the criteria IOC looks at in choosing an Olympic sport are global participation, cost of venues, and appeal to millennials. It's clear to see tug of war has all those boxes ticked. Everyone knows how to play it, regardless of country or age, and all you need is a rope and firm ground. It's an excellent game of teamwork, strength, and endurance, so it deserves re-inclusion. To show just how serious the bid is, there's actually an international governing body named the Tug of War International Federation, which has over 60 member associations worldwide. Don't scratch it out just yet. Number 4. Competitive cheerleading. Competitive cheerleading consists of a lot of skills, which include stunts, tosses, tumbling, and a lot more. That requires a great deal of athleticism to pull off what they can do. Come to think of it, artistic gymnasts do tumbles, synchronized swimmers perform creative pyramids and formations, but cheerleaders do all that and so much more. The sport is regulated by the International Cheer Union and currently has a total of 112 member countries from Africa, Americas, Asia, Europe, and Oceania. The ICU hosts a lot of competitions, with the ICU World Cheerleading Championship being the most popular, commanding audiences who watch via the internet. The good news is that competitive cheerleading is close to becoming an Olympic sport, as it has been given provisional status by the IOC in December 2016. What this means is that related organizations may receive funding and special grants within a 3-year period. Aside from that, the sport can be petitioned to be fully included in the Olympics. Get your pom-poms ready. Number 3. Lacrosse. Rugby is a Summer Olympics event, but you know what would make it even more challenging? Try catching and passing a ball with a net attached to a stick. That's what lacrosse is. This sport is so famous that it has been featured in movies like American Pie, Mean Girls, and Transition. In America, it's getting a lot of attention because of 2 things. It's a gender-neutral sport, and it's an active contemporary game. But more than its popularity, there are many reasons why lacrosse should become an Olympic sport. For starters, it was a medal sport during the 1904 and 1908 Olympics, so it wouldn't be the first time it takes center stage. A demonstration event featuring lacrosse was even held during the 1948 London Olympics. If we're talking about numbers, Federation of International Lacrosse Director Tom Hayes predicted there would be more than 100 participating nations by 2024, which means it should be more than eligible for inclusion. Number 2. Mixed martial arts. Combat sports like judo and taekwondo are official Olympic events, so why not mixed martial arts? Mixed martial arts, like its name implies, is the ultimate battle between all types of fighting styles. That means no martial art is left out. Its popularity is rising yearly. Compared to boxing, the UFC, the most popular MMA organization, had more fighters who command interest from audiences as seen by pay-per-view figures. MMA has the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation as its global governing body, which could submit an application for the sport to be an Olympic event. As far as inclusion to the Olympics, outgoing UFC CEO and former co-owner Lorenzo Fertitta believes it will only be a matter of time. After all, it's gained so much buzz because, let's face it, who doesn't want to watch a battle between skilled combatants from different fighting disciplines? Number 1. Speed skiing. One thing that the IOC considers when picking an Olympic sport is the demographics it can draw in. In that regard, speed skiing definitely deserves a spot. Speed skiing is a crazy, adrenaline-pumping winter sport that could easily command a legion of viewers, especially the X Games crowd. It is the fastest, non-motorized sport in the world. So much that participants usually reach 120 miles per hour to log the highest speed within a kilometer-long course. In fact, the fastest record was logged by Simone Oregon, an Italian racer who reached 156.2 miles per hour in 2006. This takes a lot of skill to pull off, which is why it's worthy of the spotlight. At the same time, the amount of risk paired with it is what might be keeping it from becoming an official Olympic event. Even if the courses are straightforward and smooth, the extreme speed is going to hit a competitor really hard when they fall. But that's what training is for, right? There are already venues used for skiing which can be used for this event should it be included, so that's one less problem. Let's cross our fingers. Which one do you think is most deserving of a spot in the Olympics? Or do you know of another that you think should have been in this list? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.